Hello, this is Bill from What Kind of Math Is This? Today's video is going to be on how to solve one-step algebraic equations. Basically, we're trying to solve for the variable. Usually that's the letter. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to show you the very first one. And again, one step is going to be pretty simple once you get the hang of it. So let me go ahead and write one up here. 8 equals -4 plus b. Before I start the problem, I want you to understand that what we're trying to do is decide what is b. Now, I know that some of you may be using a different method with this. Whatever works best for you, that's what I'm all about. I am just trying to provide a service to help out folks who get stuck on some different math terms. Now, we're trying to solve for b. Yes, I can go ahead and tell you I know the answer is going to be 12 because I can go and say, well, what plus -4 would equal 8, and of course it's 12. However, one-step equations are kind of like a precursor or a prequel to, of course, two-step and some more complicated algebraic format. So that's why we're learning a procedural way of doing it. So let's go ahead and start. As you can see, it's 8 equals -4 plus b. The very first thing that I want to do here is I want to be able to, of course, understand the question. I have a letter, which is a variable, standing for the unknown number. To that, I am adding -4, and of course, all of that together equals 8. The very first thing I need to do is I need to get rid of whatever is on this right side with this variable. In that case, it's a -4 being added. I am going to do what's called the inverse or the opposite. So if this is a -4, I am going to add a +4 to get rid of that. And of course, that would just give me b. However, in order for the equation to be balanced, I need to do it to both sides of the equal sign. So I'll come over here and just do that as well. And there you go. That's it. Pretty simple once you get the basics of it, understanding what's happening. Put 12 equals b. And like I said before, 12 does equal b. We could tell that from just looking at the equation. All right, so there's the first one. Let me do another one for you. Just erase all this so I can have a clean chalkboard. All right. I've got 84 equals 7y. Again, we are trying to identify what does y equal. That whatever y equals multiplied by 7 is going to give us 84. So in order to isolate y to get it by itself, we're going to do the inverse or the opposite. This is multiplication, so the opposite of multiplication, of course, is division. And I got to multiply both sides in order to be balanced. And there's your answer, or more properly, y equals 12. There you go. So what we're saying is 7 times 12 is 84, and of course, as you can see, it is. So another one-step equation shown to you. Let's do another one. And this time I want to switch it up, and I want to do one that involves a fraction. Sometimes these will get us a little confused. That's all right. And I want to be able to make sure I understand the equation, what's happening here. They say that f, whatever it may be, divided by 3, or broken into 3 parts, equal parts, equals -13. Now, there's a quick way where you can go, and say, this times this will give you the answer. And of course, it will. However, we're trying to do a process because, especially when we get to 2 steps, we need to follow a process in order to answer those. So, all right, what we're going to do is that this variable over 3, of course, this is division. So we're going to do the opposite, which is multiplication. And because I'm trying to get rid of this 3, I'm going to multiply by 3. I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. I get -39 equals f, or more properly, there you go. And that would be your answer. So what you do is basically when you are trying to isolate the variable, you're going to do the inverse. So if something's being added to the variable, you're going to subtract. If something's being subtracted from the variable, you're going to add. If something's being multiplied by the variable, you're going to divide. If something's being divided by the variable, you're going to multiply. So it's called the inverse operation. I'll show you one more, and hopefully you will have somewhat of a grasp of this. All right, here we go. This is going to be negative 4 equals 2 plus c. All right, I want to point out here is our variable, and we have something added to it, which in this case is a 2. So in order to isolate that variable, to get it by itself, I am going to do the opposite or the inverse. And what I would get is negative 6. Now, some of you may be getting confused, and I'll do another video on this, but understand that whenever we have a negative number and we subtract a positive, all right, some math teacher will say a couple different things. That's negative 4 or negative 2. That's really what it is. Some people say, well, it's negative 4 minus 2. Understand that what you're doing here is you start with negative 4. You're left with the 0 if you're on a number line. And from that, you are taking away a positive 2. This right here is the opposite of the rule that we commonly know. If whenever you add a negative, you are subtracting a positive. Well, this is a subtraction of the positive. What we can do is just basically rewrite this. It makes it much clearer. Anyway, back to the one-step equation. As you can see, negative 6 equals c. And if you ever want to go and see if this is actually a true statement, in which I hope that most of us would be double checking our work. I know sometimes it slows us down, I get that, but it's a good practice to go and double check your work. I'm just going to go and substitute the answer, negative 6, for the c, and then as you can see, 2 plus negative 6, when I add a positive and negative together, I subtract and of course take the sign of the greater absolute value, which would be this 6, and therefore that equation is true. Anyway, this has been Bill from What Kind of Math Is This? Solving one-step equations. I hope this video helped you. If it did, if you wouldn't mind liking the video. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.